It began as a whisper, a faint irregularity buried deep within the raw data of the James Webb Space Telescope. At first, it was nothing more than static, a subtle shimmer in the background hum of the cosmos. But when analysts amplified the signal, patterns began to emerge. The noise wasn't random. It pulsed, repeating with near-perfect precision every 37 minutes. At first, they blamed solar interference, then gravitational lensing. But when the signal kept returning, sharper, stronger, structured, the room fell silent. Something out there was transmitting. And the origin was unmistakable. The signal came from within 3I, Atlas, the interstellar object that had just passed Mars. What Webb detected wasn't reflected radiation or magnetic interference. It was a controlled broadcast. A deliberate transmission from inside the body of a comet that wasn't behaving like a comet at all. NASA flagged it immediately. The frequency, between 1.7 and 3.4 GHz, was unlike any natural cosmic source. It modulated in layered bands, each carrying separate harmonics that formed a three-dimensional waveform. One of the cryptography teams noticed something chilling. When converted to binary, the pattern displayed self-correcting redundancies, the kind used in digital communication systems. Whatever was sending this knew how to structure information. Within 48 hours, the anomaly was reclassified as confidential. Access was restricted to internal NASA channels and select defense partners. Yet, fragments of the signal leaked. A few researchers, unwilling to stay silent, shared spectrograms showing the pulse forming geometric shapes, spirals, hexagons, and fractal patterns resembling a Mandelbrot sequence. These were not random cosmic artifacts. They looked engineered. The transmissions evolved. Each repetition altered slightly, a process called incremental encoding, as if the sender was responding to its own echo or adapting to interference. Webb's infrared instruments even registered microfluctuations in Atlas's surface temperature synchronized with the pulses, suggesting physical vibration. That means the object wasn't just sending data. It was resonating. Then something stranger happened. Deep Space Network antennas in Canberra and Madrid began picking up sideband echoes of the same pattern, rebroadcasted from near-Earth orbit. At first, this was dismissed as local interference, but the spectral match was exact. The implication was terrifying. Earth was being mirrored in the transmission path. The message wasn't aimed randomly into the void. It was targeted. Behind closed doors, NASA convened an emergency data containment protocol, codenamed Silent Dawn. Communications between partner observatories were cut. Private observatories were quietly warned to avoid pointing high-frequency arrays toward Atlas. But that only deepened suspicion. Independent analysts who reconstructed leaked fragments found the signal contained harmonic intervals that corresponded to hydrogen spectral lines, the same universal constant used by humans in attempts to communicate with extraterrestrial intelligence. Whoever, or whatever, was transmitting knew the language of physics. Inside NASA, panic spread quietly. The agency's AI-assisted signal decoders began detecting semantic compression, layers of meaning embedded in the modulation itself. To put it simply, the transmission wasn't just repeating, it was talking. Patterns evolved over time as if in conversation. One internal memo described it as an adaptive data lattice exhibiting reactive intelligence. By the fifth day, Webb's instruments picked up a secondary emission, a faint gamma flash aligned precisely with the signal's rhythm. That flash wasn't visible to the naked eye, but it synchronized perfectly with the main pulse, forming a dual-spectrum message. A combination of radio and energy wave woven together. Not a warning, not a greeting, something else entirely. Then came the gravitational tremors. The Deep Space Network detected minute distortions in the local gravitational field surrounding 3I Atlas. They were small, almost imperceptible, but rhythmic. The object wasn't just transmitting, it was modulating spacetime itself. Whatever was inside wasn't merely signaling. It was moving through physics. Within NASA, the tone changed. Publicly, the agency remained silent. Privately, reports described sleepless engineers, encrypted messages vanishing from servers, and quantum AI models attempting, and failing, to predict the next pulse. The patterns grew faster, compressing into tighter intervals as if approaching a threshold. Some described it as a countdown. And then, suddenly, after 9 days, the signal stopped. No fade, no decay, just silence. Instruments across the world went flat. But less than 12 minutes later, Earth's magnetosphere registered a faint, identical pulse. The signal had jumped, not from Atlas to Earth through radio but through resonance. What began as a whisper from an interstellar object has now become an echo inside our own electromagnetic field. NASA denies any link. But the data doesn't lie. Something spoke from 3I Atlas, and now, something is listening back.